Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're looking at something that's been causing a bit of a stir online, Nova's new mobile plans for 2025. They're making some big changes. We're going to break it all down for you.
It's interesting. They're not just focusing on, the tech specs this time around.
Right.
They're trying to create like a whole brand image.
Yeah, they keep saying that they're more than just a provider.
Mm-hmm.
They're a way of thinking.
A way of thinking, yeah.
Even using phrases like Innova δεν είναι απλά ένας πάροχος, είναι τρόπος σκέψης,
Yeah.
which I don't know if our listeners can understand that.
Right.
But it means that they are a way of thinking and not just a provider.
Exactly.
It's definitely a new approach.
It is. And if we look closer at their marketing, like it seems they're targeting people with shared values. Anthropon opposesi, pupisevun se alifinesexes.
Right.
They're associating themselves with ideas of freedom, ambition, knowing your worth.
All very aspirational.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder if it's just clever marketing or if they're really trying to connect with customers on a deeper level. But, I mean, before we get too deep into the philosophy of it all, let's talk about what really matters. How's the network?
Well, they were just recognized by OpenSignal for having the best mobile network experience in Greece.
Okay.
The data was collected between October and December of last year.
Okay, so that sounds impressive, but what does that actually mean for, someone who uses their phone day to day?
Essentially, it means that compared to other providers, Nova users are having more success connecting to the internet for things like calls over WhatsApp or FaceTime. They're claiming fewer dropped calls, better sound quality, and faster browsing speeds overall.
So for someone who relies on their phone a lot for work or staying in touch with family, Nova is saying we're the most reliable option.
Exactly. They're really highlighting reliability as their key selling point.
Okay, let's move on to the plans themselves. They've got a few different unlimited options with varying data amounts, 4 GB, 15 gigabytes, and 30 gigabytes.
And they're all advertising incredibly high speeds on their 5G network.
Right.
It's interesting that they're emphasizing 5G even on the lower tier plans. Seems like they're making a big push to promote their 5G capabilities across the board.
I'm seeing this unlimited all plan.
Yes.
That really caught my eye. Unlimited data sounds pretty tempting.
Ah, yes.
Right.
But there's a small caveat.
Yeah.
Notice the fine print. There's a fair usage policy of 300 gigabytes.
The dreaded fair usage policy. So if I'm understanding this correctly, after 300 gigabytes, they can throttle my speeds. So not really unlimited then.
Right. Technically, they have the ability to slow things down after that point, especially during peak hours. But honestly, for most people, 300 gigabytes is more than enough. Think about all the streaming, downloading, and browsing you could do. Unless you're running a business off your hotspot or something, you probably won't even come close to that limit.
So it's kind of like virtually unlimited for the average user.
Exactly. It's important to be aware of the limitations, but for most people, it's effectively unlimited data.
Okay. They're advertising these unlimited plans starting at €23 a month. Is that the price everyone pays, or are there different tiers?
Good catch. That starting price is actually only for existing Nova subscribers. New customers will be looking at slightly higher prices depending on the plan they choose.
Okay.
For example, the unlimited talk and text with 4 GB starts at €17 a month for new customers, €14 for existing Nova customers, and €14 if you're part of a Nova family plan.
Okay, so there are some variations depending on whether you're a new or existing customer and if you're bundling with a family plan. But here's where things get interesting. They have this data jump promotion for existing customers. It sounds like they're really encouraging people to upgrade their plans.
Yes, data jump is their big incentive.
So tell me, how much of a data boost are we talking about with this data jump?
Well, it varies depending on your current plan. For example, if you're currently on the 2 GB plan, data jump will bump you up to 4 GB plan. If you're on the 8 GB plan, you'll jump to 10 GB, and so on. Even folks with the 20 GB plan can upgrade to a whopping 30 GBs.
Wow, those are some pretty significant jumps. There has to be a catch. What's the fine print?
You're right, there is a catch. While you get this data boost at the same price for the first 3 months, there's a slight price increase after that promotional period ends.
Okay. So how much of a price hike are we talking about?
It depends on a few factors, like whether you're a standalone customer or part of a bundle, and whether or not you're affected by the inflation-based price increase that Nova is planning for February 1st, 2025. They've actually provided a chart that breaks it all down.
All right, so it seems like there's a lot to unpack with this data jump promotion. We'll definitely need to dive in the specifics of these price increases and figure out if it's actually a good deal.
Absolutely. We'll break it all down and help you determine if data jump is the right move for you. Okay, so let's break down this data jump promotion and see if we can make sense of these price increases.
Yes, please. Looking at this chart, I mean, it feels a bit overwhelming.
Yeah.
We've got standalone prices and bundled prices and inflation adjustments. I mean, where do we even begin?
Okay, let's start with the simplest scenario. If you're a standalone customer, so just a mobile plan with Nova, no other services, you're looking at an extra €2 per month after the initial 3 months of the data jump promotion.
Okay, so that's a flat increase across the board for solo users.
Not quite. If you bundle your mobile plan with other Nova services like internet or TV, or if you're part of a Nova family plan, the increase is only €1 per month. So bundling can definitely save you some money in the long run.
Interesting. It seems like they're really pushing those bundles. But what about this whole inflation adjustment? How does that factor into the price increase?
So essentially, Nova is planning to adjust its prices on February 1st to account for inflation. The chart shows two scenarios, one with the inflation adjustment and one without.
So if I jump on this data jump offer before February 1st, I can lock in a lower price increase even after the promotional period ends.
Exactly. It's a small difference, but it could save you a few euros over the course of your contract.
Okay.
So timing is key if you want to maximize your savings.
Okay, so we've covered the price increases, but is this data jump promotion actually a good deal?
Well, that depends entirely on your data needs. If you're always running out of data and getting hit with overage fees, then data jump could be a game changer. It gives you that extra data cushion without a big price jump right away.
Right, because those overage charges can really add up. But what if I'm someone who's perfectly happy with their current data plan? Is there any reason for me to consider this?
That's a great question. Honestly, if you're content with your current data allowance and you're on a tight budget, there might not be a compelling reason to jump, especially if you're trying to avoid any potential price increases down the line.
So it really comes down to a personal cost-benefit analysis, weighing the value of more data against the potential price increase down the line.
Right. And keep in mind, Nova is tailoring these data jump offers to individual customers.
Okay.
Your offer might be different from someone else's depending on your current plan, how much data you use, and any past promotions you've taken advantage of.
So it's a targeted approach.
Yeah.
Makes sense. But let's not forget, it's not just about the data. Nova is also highlighting a bunch of additional perks that come with these new plans. They're really boasting about their 5G network, promising unimaginable speeds of up to 1 Gbps.
They are, and while those speeds sound impressive, I think it's important to ask, how much of a difference does 5G actually make in our daily lives?
Exactly. Will I actually notice it when I'm, scrolling through Instagram or checking my email?
Right.
Or is it only noticeable for very specific tasks?
Well, for basic things like browsing and social media, you might not see a dramatic improvement. But for things like downloading large files, think like movies or big software updates, 5G can be a game changer. Imagine downloading a whole movie in just a few seconds. That's the kind of speed we're talking about.
Okay, so for those who need that extra speed boost for data-intensive tasks, 5G is definitely a plus.
Right.
What other perks are they offering?
They're also promoting Wi-Fi calling, which lets you make calls over a Wi-Fi network when cell service is weak or unavailable. This can be incredibly helpful in areas with spotty coverage, like basements or more rural locations.
I can definitely see the value in that, especially for people who live in areas with unreliable cell service or who travel frequently. What else?
Well, they have the Nova app, which is a convenient way to manage your account, track your usage, pay bills, and access special offers. And for frequent travelers, they're emphasizing that your plan can be used in EU countries just like you're in Greece.
Okay,
No more worrying about crazy roaming charges when you're on vacation.
that's a great perk. No more coming home to a surprise phone bill after a trip abroad. So we covered the data jump promotion, the extra perks. Now let's talk pricing for these new plans. They've laid out different tiers for both individual and business customers.
And you'll notice that the pricing structure is pretty much identical for both individuals and businesses. It's just mirrored.
Oh, okay. So whether you're an individual user or running a business, you have access to the same range of options. That's good to know. But the big question is, how competitive are these prices compared to other providers in Greece? I mean, are we getting a good deal here?
That's the key question, isn't it? To answer that, we'd need to do a side-by-side comparison with other mobile providers in Greece. We have to look at not just the price, but the data allowance, the extra perks, the whole package.
Right, because the cheapest option isn't always the best value. It's about finding the plan that best fits your specific needs and usage habits. But before we get too deep into comparisons, are there any hidden costs we should be aware of with Nova? Sometimes those sneaky fees can really add up.
That's a great point. It's always important to read the fine print and make sure there aren't any unexpected charges lurking beneath the surface.
All right, so we've got some homework to do. We need to compare Nova's plans with the competition and really scrutinize his details to see if they're offering true value for your money.
Absolutely. But before we wrap up this section, I think it's worth circling back to Nova's brand identity and marketing message, that way of thinking they keep emphasizing.
Right, they're really trying to position themselves as more than just a mobile provider.
Right.
They want to connect with customers on a deeper level, appealing to their values and aspirations. Do you think it's working?
It's definitely a unique approach. Most mobile providers focus on specs and prices. Nova is trying to tap into something more emotional, more aspirational.
Yeah. It's a bold move for sure. But the question is, does it resonate with people? Will this actually influence their decision when choosing a mobile provider?
It's an interesting question to consider, and it raises a bigger point. In today's market, brands need to find ways to differentiate themselves. It's not just about the product or service anymore. It's about the values and emotional connections they create.
So as we move into the final part of our deep dive, I want you to keep that in mind. Does Nova's brand identity appeal to you? How much does brand alignment factor into your decision-making process?
It's something to ponder not just when choosing a mobile provider, but in all aspects of our life as consumers.
Okay, so we're back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Nova's new mobile plans. We've covered a lot from data allowances and pricing to all those extra perks they're offering.
And of course, we touched on their rather unique marketing approach.
Right, with that whole way of thinking concept.
Yeah.
So as we put all the pieces together, what are the key takeaways? What do people need to know?
Well, the first thing that jumps out is Nova's focus on network quality and reliability. I mean, they've received awards for their performance, and they're really hammering home the message that they're the most reliable option out there.
So if you're someone who absolutely depends on their phone for work or staying connected with loved ones, that could be a major selling point.
Absolutely. And then we have those new unlimited plans, which offer a good range of options to fit different data needs, from the 4GB plan for light users to the unlimited all plan for people who never want to worry about hitting a data cap.
And speaking of data, let's not forget about that data jump promotion. It's a tempting offer for existing Nova customers looking for a data boost without an immediate price increase.
However, it's crucial to remember those price increases do kick in after the first 3 months, so you'll want to factor that into your decision. Do the benefits of the extra data outweigh the eventual price hike? That's something you'll have to weigh for yourself.
Right, it all comes down to your individual needs and priorities. Nova's also sweetening the deal with those extra perks, like 5G speeds, Wi-Fi calling, their mobile app, and EU roaming.
These can definitely add value, but again, it depends on your personal usage patterns. Do you travel frequently within the EU? Do you live or work in an area with a spotty cell reception? If so, those perks become much more relevant to your decision.
So Nova has laid all their cards on the table. We've examined the data plans, we've analyzed the pricing, and we've explored those extra features.
Now it's up to you to decide if Nova's new offerings align with your needs, your budget, and even your values.
Because remember, the best mobile plan isn't necessarily the cheapest or the one with the most bells and whistles. It's the one that best fits your lifestyle and how you use your phone.
Right. Do your research, compare the options, and don't be afraid to ask questions. Ultimately, the power is in your hands to choose the plan that's right for you.
And as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to circle back to that final thought-provoking question we left you with. Nova is really pushing this idea of being a way of thinking. They're aligning themselves with values like freedom, ambition, and self-worth.
Yeah. Does this resonate with you? Do you feel a connection with their brand identity?
Because, when you really think about it, our choices as consumers say a lot about who we are and what we believe in.
Whether you're consciously aware of it or not, your decision to choose one brand over another is often influenced by factors beyond just the product itself.
It's about finding brands that share your values, that speak to you on a deeper level. And that's something to consider, not just when choosing a mobile provider, but in all areas of your life.
It really is food for thought as you navigate the ever-expanding world of brands and choices. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Nova's new mobile plans. We hope you found it informative and helpful in making your decision.
Until next time, stay curious and keep exploring.